Welcome back. What a weekend it was. After 5 days of ballot counting, Joe Biden finally announced as president-elect, and that means Kamala Harris is the first female and first black Indian American vice president. However, President Trump has yet to concede. What's next? That's the big question. Joining us now live from Washington, D.C. is CNN's Karin Caifa. Wow, Karin, a moment to exhale here, but still a lot to work ahead to. And I want to initially get your reaction here of some of our breaking news that we're following regarding Pfizer, seeing their late-stage trials as 90% effective for their vaccine. So this is huge news, regardless of the administration that would be in power. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Mel. Absolutely. That is big news and promising news from Pfizer. It seems to be in line with the timeline that they had outlined in terms of where they would be in the month of November and in phase 3 of their trial. But they are certainly pleasantly surprised at the efficacy of the vaccine in that trial. So still more work to be done. But the U.S. market seeming to really like that news this morning, up more than 1,400 points in the futures trading so far. So you're absolutely right. Regardless of which administration it is, if and when this vaccine were to get that approval that they will ultimately be seeking if they are successful, that would be big news. But the Biden-Harris transition team eager to proceed no matter what, vaccine or not. They have assembled this task force of about a dozen or so people that's going to help them during the transition to be really prepared to tackle this pandemic when they take office on January 20th, Mel.
Karin, interesting to see some of the advisors, including whistleblower Rick Bright. And if that's a familiar name, and there's a reason why this is significant.
Yeah, absolutely. Rick Bright was a whistleblower in the recent months. He had said that he tried to warn the Trump administration about the seriousness of the pandemic and was ignored. And he testified as such on Capitol Hill. He lost his job in the process. So he is one of the people that the Biden-Harris team has tapped to be part of this task force that will also include some of the names that you have seen in recent months talking about the pandemic and the progression of it. People like Michael Osterholm of the University of Minnesota. Vivek Murthy was a Surgeon General during the Obama administration. So a number of experienced hands that the Biden-Harris team is calling on to really start framing their approach to handling the pandemic right now. They have about 10 weeks during this transition period. Joe Biden, of course, campaigned heavily on the idea that he believed President Trump woefully mishandled the coronavirus pandemic. Joe Biden very much wants to correct that course when he becomes president. And so this is the first step, really, of his transition that is being taken here today.
Karin, what's next, though, for President Trump? Obviously, it doesn't seem like he's on the road to conceding at all. Legal challenges will continue. So what will the next little while look like for him?
Yeah, we don't really know. When we were getting mixed reports out of the White House this weekend as to how those closest to him were feeling about what's going on right now. There were some sources saying that Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, and also the First Lady Melania Trump were urging him to move in the direction of making some sort of concession or at least accepting the election outcome. But then some people close to Kushner came out and said that's not true. Kushner is encouraging him to keep fighting. And then the First Lady, after those reports, also sent a tweet that said every legal vote, not illegal vote, should be counted. So in line with the messaging of the president and some Republicans. We've also heard top Republicans on Capitol Hill echo that sentiment about legal votes being counted, but really not weighing in to either go as far as the president in terms of what he is accusing in terms of widespread election corruption, but also not really congratulating the Biden-Harris team either. So kind of in a holding pattern. We believe that a number of Republicans are trying to give President Trump some space here to decide the strategy that he wants to chart next. We understand that some close to the president are even encouraging him to take his argument out on the road, to hold rallies, to try to push some of these states where the election results were very, very tight, trying to encourage them to do recounts there as he pursues his challenges.
Well, indeed, the next 70 days should be interesting. Karin Caifa live in Washington. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mel.
7:35, Frankie. I know you've been watching this too.